right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Boss Mentality. On today's episode, we're going to talk about performative behavior in leadership and how having performative people around you can really have you not look at the clear picture for your leadership style.
I just happened to grab an extra coffee. 2 sugars, right? Oh, isn't it your mom's birthday tomorrow? Wish her happy birthday for me. I noticed Keith did a sloppy job on these reports, so I went ahead and redid them for you. That is so funny. You're going away this weekend? Skiing? Oh my God, that is so relaxing. Well, anyway, have a good trip and let me know if you want me to kind of keep an eye on things around here for you while you're gone.
With this episode, we're going to go into the Lizzo case and really examine her behavior when it comes down to performative, work employees, and also, a rejection wound can really trigger a lot of this behavior without really looking at people from a clear picture and a clear viewpoint with as far as, what type of behavior that they're actually coming with when it comes down to your office environment or your work environment.
Exactly. So a lot of these people, the performative behavior, they're just people who just know how to look good in front of management or leadership. They know the right things to say at the right time to kind of make it seem like they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, but somehow the real work that needs to be done is never really moving forward. You always find yourself stagnant. Everything's either it's getting behind or it's staying stagnant. So it's never moving forward. So these type of people you have to watch out for is to kind of notice the behavior patterns so that you can kind of get ahead of them, make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not just being performative, but actually performing the work.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add to that, so many times we could look at like nice behavior and they're like, oh, yeah, this person's bubbly, they're cheerful, but you have to have discernment with things because a lot of times that nice behavior can be very one-dimensional. So I always say this with leadership and also, as you come into your environment as a manager or a co-worker too as well, when you see someone and things are not going their way, look and see how their response is because a lot of times these performative people have a lot of control issues and when something's not going their way then they quickly turn the environment to the left. Okay, so if you see if you hear things being a co-worker, you listen to somebody before you jump into like a smear campaign because a lot of these people could turn your work environment to a big major smear campaign. Okay, so before it gets to that level, when you sort of see someone, they hear a no or someone's not acting the way that they feel that they should act. Okay, for instance, like I remember someone I was working with, and they were talking about how someone didn't greet them properly. Okay, like they said hello and then the person didn't respond to the hello in the proper type of way, and they just flipped on this person. And then it was like, oh, but they always are like this and they think they are that and had all this animosity. And
Yeah.
it's like, like
Keep
wait
your
a minute.
emotions in check
Yeah,
sometimes.
emotions went to the whole left side. And it's like, this person, like, you don't know what's going on in their life. And I believe that, they had a dog that passed away. Okay. They lost Mr. Bojangles.
Welcome to being dead.
What? Okay. And it's like they sitting there somewhere like looking like, seething with anger, but it's like because someone didn't perform in their work environment the way that they wanted to. So, you always have to look at someone's reasoning behind their, behavior. And if you see that performative behavior when something doesn't go their way or people are not performing with them and it goes to a negative direction, you always got to look and say, okay, well, this person here is not it's not the genuine nice behavior. They're doing this. It's like if I do this, it's tit for tat. I do this nice behavior, you receive this behavior and do what I want you to do. And that's something as a leader you have to be very cautious about who's coming to your desk about their complaints or, about people in your environment if they're trying to push people out because, they're not doing the performative, walk and dance that they want them to do. You got to look at that and check that behavior as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think you really do have to realize that, when we're talking about, especially office politics, a lot of people, like we said, know how to play the game. And those are the ones that normally don't really get any work done. They're focused more so on who, who likes them or who they can suck up to, get ahead or whatever the case may be, or to get people to not pay attention to the fact that they're not actually doing any work.
Yep.
And so you have to pay attention to people like that. If you notice, most of those people never really complain about the work.
No.
They're complaining about somebody else's personality.
Right.
And of course, we don't want to work around people with horrible personalities or that are just super negative, but you also don't want to work around people that are only focused solely on being personable all the time and not getting any work done. There has to be some sort of balance. And me personally, I would rather prefer somebody just come in, do their job, and go home. I don't need to have a full-on conversation with you. We can have a conversation. I have no problems doing it, but we don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're doing your work, as long as what you're doing isn't affecting the company or the team in a negative way as far as work product is concerned. I personally don't care about all of the extra stuff, but we already know how office politics works. We already know how the game is. And so sometimes you do have to play the game and play nicely and get along, but you don't have to overdo it. Yeah. And to me, the most important thing is to know that at the end of the day, you are doing your work. Your work is getting done. And nobody can tell you about your work product. Yeah. Focus on what you have to do to get the job done, and then that's it.
Energy vampires are real. And a lot of times with performative behavior, you're dealing with a lot of energy vampires that, they're trying to siphon a lot of energy in the room. And like I said early on, they're coming in there, not focused on the work and not focused on your business. They're focused on getting their energy hit from the other person in the room. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was a coworker, and literally I'm doing my work and and I'm sort of focused on my own tasks, and they just walking behind me. And I'm like, what's going on?
Let me tell you something. Get Dr. Newsom.
But it's like I'm looking to get my energy hit because this person, they were a very talkative person, and it's like, okay, cool. And I don't mind casual conversations. Hello, how you doing? But every day is not a talkative mode situation. Sometimes you got to go in there, do your job. You have, like I said, a busy day, so you cannot get the same type of conversation that you're walking into on a given, easy, flowing day. Okay.
Right.
And so, when I was in that, a busier moment, and they just up there behind me, they just sign.
Want you to notice them. They want some attention so bad.
Yeah. And I said, bro, you got something in your throat? You okay? Because
need some water?
You gotta need some water. Here's some tea. You made some tea in the break room because you ain't gonna get no energy hit today. It's like I said, it's a lot going on, and I just pivoted to a whole nother conversation and just sort of moved on and said, hey, put it right on back to work. I said, every day ain't a talking day. Right. I call stuff out. It's like, this is not a talking day. I mean, how you doing? Some things are how you doing day. And it's bad that some people have this childlike mentality, but a lot of times that behavior gets very, very childish. And so many times when you're dealing with a rejection room in leadership, because if you leave with this rejection wound that, people didn't accept me in my past, and, people were not really receptive of my energy, that person that you see that's performative, you're like, oh, this person could be getting bullied, or, oh, this person is not being accepted in the room. No, you got to look at things not from your past, not from your past lens. You got to look at things from like the team perspective and say, okay, this person really doesn't know how to really place their energy in their environment. Okay. This person doesn't really know how to look at things from a lens where it's like, okay, they're not being rejected. Some things it's just not a day where you can just have these long drawn out conversations to gather energy in the environment. Okay. And sometimes when you approach things from someone is putting in that that happy-go-lucky energy to you because you never felt that one for yourself, it could be a very detrimental lens for you and your leadership style, because people are looking at you like, okay, you know what, you don't see things clearly when it comes down to other people around you.
Yeah, I mean, simply put, a lot of people just don't know how to read the room.
My God, read the room.
That's just really what it boils down to. A lot of people don't know how to read the room, especially when they feel like, again, it's the energy that they want to siphon off of somebody else. For whatever reason, they're coming into work for whatever reason, they have this weird energy about them, and they feel like they need to get attention or approval from a coworker or a supervisor or whoever the case may be. They feel like they have to siphon some sort of energy to help them get along with the day. They don't realize that everybody is not with that or wants to participate in them doing that. And so once they realize that, they either pivot or they don't know how to read the room, and so they keep going. And that can cause friction, that can cause issues. And as a leader, as a management, you do have to kind of notice certain things when things are starting to get out of hand and nip it in the bud right then and there. But simply put, a lot of people just don't know how to read the room, unfortunately, until somebody tells them. And sometimes you never know how that person is feeling. They may be a little bit more aggressive that day, so you may get a side of them that's like, oh, I didn't. Well, yeah, because you didn't approach it the correct way. And if somebody's warning you and you're still pushing it and you're not reading the room, it could cause a problem. There's friction between employees or between management and their employers. And so you have to learn how to read the room at all times, no matter what field you're in. I think that's it's a skill that has to be finely tuned, but sometimes people don't realize that until somebody tells them. And sometimes it takes somebody to tell them that's not in their inner circle or in their family. Sometimes it takes people that's outside of their norm for them to actually get it and understand.
Because they could be around a lot of enablers. That feed into that delusional type of mindset. Like, oh baby, it's you. They just picking on my baby.
Lies and slander.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't right. Oh, don't worry about them. Forget them. They juicing this person up, and it's like you're juicing up delusional behavior. Because, like I said, everything is not about you. And so many times that's coming from that selfish level lens, that prideful lens, where it's like, you think that you're the show of the room and you have this main character energy, okay? And it's like you're not the main character in everybody else's life, okay?
Exactly.
You coming into the office, you could be a supported character. Lord, you could be an extra, okay?
Right. That day, it depends on the day.
That day, and you have to bring that type of energy in check, because if you coming in there, thinking that you're the Beyonce, okay, of the room, and you really Luther Vandross.
Beyonce. You know who you really look like? You look like Luther Vandross.
Not even Luther.
Come on, New York. You think you Luther Vandross? You know what I'm saying? And instead of looking at the whole type of lens and say, you know what, let me just bring this in. This is not. Hey, this person could be going through a whole lot of things. Let me not just sort of look at this from a very one-dimensional type of space. Because when you have this type of energy, when you have that performative energy, you can not look at criticism in a fair point to say, hey, you know what? I'm not really taking the respective type of approach to really understand how my behavior is moving.
Right. Exactly. I think a lot of people have to take themselves they have to step outside of themselves. They have to step outside of themselves and realize, like you said, that everything's not about you, and everything that happens does not mean it's a personal attack on you. You cannot take everything personally. I've had to learn that over the years, not to take everything personally. Somebody else could be having a bad day, and you thinking it's something you said or did, and it has nothing to do with you. It's all about them. And so you have to take that into consideration when you maneuver through life in general, but especially in the workplace, because you're seeing these people 7-8 hours of the day. You know what I'm saying? Even if you work from home, you have to interact with them somehow. It's easier to work from home. You can just email, but we can get nasty in the emails. Right. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to check somebody through email, and it's like,
per my last email.
Right. The energy can be felt through the email as well. So it really doesn't matter how it's what the medium is. The point is that you have to learn how to, like I said, read the room and understand that not everything should be viewed as a personal attack against you. Now let's talk about this Lizzo situation.
2023 was an amazing year for me.
Yes.
It was a career high. Like, we got the record of the year at the Grammys for About Damn Time. I was on my first arena tour, and I got to bring the wonderful big girl dancers from Watch Out for the Big Girls on stage with me every night. Like, I was literally living in my dream. And then the tour ended, and 3 ex-dancers just completely blindsided me with a lawsuit.
So let's talk about that so I can get the exact facts right before we get into it. It's 2023. They come with a lawsuit, and it's a bunch of different claims about harassment, assault. Were you surprised? Did you know about it beforehand, that it was coming before we saw it hit the net? Or was it a complete blindside situation?
I was completely surprised.
Really?
I was very deeply hurt because these were 3 ex dancers, so they weren't on the tour. They didn't like finish the tour out with us. But even regardless of that, these were people that I gave opportunities to. These were people that I liked them and appreciated them as dancers, respected them as dancers. So I was like, what? But then I heard all the other things like sexual harassment, and I was like, they're trying, well, I don't know what they're trying to do, but these are the types of things that the media can turn into something that it's not.
What is going on?
My thing about it is, because Keke Palmer did a wonderful podcast episode with Lizzo, and I like it because she brought in, because Virgo go get to the details. She said, so did you think that this would have made them uncomfortable? Because sometimes she said that, we can have communication and we can think that, okay, yeah, you know what, like this person's down and they're not really down. And Lizzo was like, no, everybody was down.
Oh, girl, bye.
Everybody's not down. Like, and she was talking about taking, some of her colleagues, co-workers to the strip club. You don't take your colleagues to the strip club. Those are not your friends. And like the thing about it is, so performative people, they will put on a mask. They will say, yeah, let's go. Let's turn up. Let's go. Let's have fun. You got to know, you got to have discernment for yourself to know that people who are around me, I'm in this celebrity seat, I'm in this leadership seat, they're going to perform. You're going to run into performative people. So you got to know who your circle is. You got to know this is what this person is, and they're going to stay in this particular ring. And I know that she made mention in the interview that, hey, you know what? There's some people who don't really talk to their dancers. They're like in this creative space, in this entertainment space, and they have this like, ego, this prideful level ego. So they are not receptive towards people who are, in the background. And I get that she wants to have this friendly behavior where she's like, okay, I want people to feel welcome. But you can't approach it from a lens where it's like, okay, you're overstepping your comfort zone. You don't know people's triggers. You don't know people's mindset when it comes down to their solo thought process. Listen, because I've seen people from behind the scenes, they may say yes to someone's face, and that's what a lot of performing people do. They say yes to your face, and then behind the scenes, there's a lot of things going on, a muckus going on in the background, as far as what they really feel. So, like, being in a power seat, you got to know, okay, no, I'm not even going to have this invitation sent out to someone to say, you're welcome to come. You ain't going to even know that I'm going to no strip club. You're not even going to know that I'm going to, even a Met Gala, whatever, like event that's even casual. Some things is just like, you don't want to put people in certain places. You have to have your core friends, your people who are in your corner that you know of, and a colleague and a coworker is not that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those people, especially when you're working for a celebrity, obviously that's not the same as working in a regular 9-to-5. We get that. So they may do things that are unorthodox.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. Yeah.
But I think that sometimes when you have people that are working for a big celebrity, they feel like they have to say yes to whatever the celebrity asks them to do because that's my boss, technically. And, she's just inviting me to have fun. But what you don't realize is that you also have the autonomy to say, no, I appreciate that offer, but that's not my thing. That's not my deal. I don't think I would feel comfortable. And now, if it's a situation or a case where they take that out on you, then that's another avenue where you may be able to, file a lawsuit against them if they fire you because you said no to going to the strip club. Yeah. We've heard horror stories of celebrities that are extremely evil, abusive, physically and verbally to their staff, based off of who they are and based off of the fact that they're employing this person. So a lot of people may feel that because, they are working for this particular celebrity that, oh, okay, well, I need to go ahead and just say yes, because if I don't know what the repercussions are. But now you're in a situation where you are uncomfortable and the girl didn't force y'all to go. The girl didn't force y'all to go. But the situation, she still made you uncomfortable. Yeah. Period, point blank. And she overstepped her boundaries at the end of the day because she was their boss. She was the one employing them and not the other way around.
And the thing about it is, I know what you mentioned early on, where it's in celebrity culture with boss relations, it's the line is a little bit different, but it's becoming less and less different because people are getting sued.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
and the thing about it is, so these situations, it happens in our work environment, and I think we see it more in corporate America more so, where people sort of step outside those boundary lines, and it's more so detrimental. But it's a lot of correlation between the two, because people are out here now, they're like, no, this is not really working. And I think that a lot of times with, and that's what we're saying, JL, that when your boundaries, and you got to look at somebody else, like when you're in a higher seat in corporate America, and like I said, we can see in Lizzo's case being in management as well. When you're in that higher seat, people are going to say yes to you, and you got to know it's like, nah, this man, nah, this a little bit too.
Especially when you're insecure as a leader.
Yes.
Especially when you're insecure as a leader and you need validation from the people that you're leading because you don't feel comfortable and confident enough that you're in the leadership position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to watch that, because a lot of people that are slick with it, they'll notice that, okay, this person needs validation. So let me kiss their ass, because they need the validation from me. They need to know that they're doing a good job as a leader. And they're going about trying to find out that they're doing a good job the incorrect way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think that's a big part of it. It's like, they don't show any accountability. There's no no difficult conversations are being had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, okay, well, we living in this bubble.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you that everything that you're doing is great until it's not.
Until it's not. And so many times we see these systems, they thrive because sometimes these people who are doing this performing behavior, they are being rewarded. They are given like special treatment. And and the thing about it is, so that could be detrimental for your business, because you have people who are actually trying to look out for you and say, I don't think you need to be doing that. And then you turn into like a devil with horns on that person that's trying to give you the corrective advice and say, hey, you know what? This may be a little bit off, okay? Because if people can't lead you and say no, you may want to think about that a little bit differently, and you sort of get triggered, and you go into that performative person and sort of give you that soothing back rub. That's not their job, okay? That's not their job to give you that that, oh, there, everything's gonna be okay.
Oh, dude, it's just out of my pay grade.
So many times we could see this in corporate America, and sometimes in spaces, in the entertainment industry, where people are rubbing someone's back, and it's like, you know what? The only person that needs to be doing that is your therapist, okay? Your
Right.
therapist,
Or your spouse,
okay,
maybe your parents,
yeah,
siblings, but not nobody that is working for you or working around you.
Because that rejection room can limit your growth. That rejection room can have people who grow around you who are not really pushing you forward in the right direction. It's pushing you into a pathway where you can run into, like we see in Lizzo's case, legal problems. And those problems derailed a lot of her career momentum, okay, when a lot of these ladies were coming out the woodwork saying, oh no, this is what happened. This is what went down. Because I believe that she had a lead who was over these girls, and and that lead was probably doing more soothing behavior. That's what happens. You can take a back seat as a leader and let someone else be that focal front, and you don't know what's going on in your environment.
Yeah, I think when you don't know the emotional aspects of the people that you're working around and how they handle things, they won't go to you, or they won't see you as somebody they can go to talk to about their emotions and about what makes them uncomfortable and about stuff like that, because you have basically handed them off to somebody else that handles all of that for them. And you can't have it both ways. Now, I'm not saying that she can't have help with, I don't want to say controlling, but managing or supervising her, her employees. Of course she can do that. It's nobody else can do it by themselves.
I like what Kiki said. You didn't check in? Did you check in?
There's a claim that somebody couldn't use the bathroom during rehearsal, but in that same rehearsal, there was another dancer who was in the bathroom during a whole run.
And that's why I asked what I asked you about your team, because there's also this thing where they're coming at the captain, they're coming at the production, and sometimes if you're off and you're doing this and that, maybe you don't know back what they doing at home base. Did you take a look with yourself and say, when all this went down, what's my production company doing? What's my captain doing? Was there a moment in time that you feel you could have maybe checked the people that were working with you, handling the dancers? Well, maybe they, effed up on something. Was that ever a thought, that passed your mind?
If somebody had came to me with an issue with somebody on my team, if that existed, then it would be handled and dealt with. That's it. But
And so it never was said.
everybody had a great time.
But then they didn't. You know what I mean, though?
Right.
Yeah,
That's
you
literally.
got to check in on people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. With rejection rules, you're so used to being, you want to be soothed so
Mhm.
much that you're not even checking in on your staff because it's like, nah, don't get off my back. Let me check in to see, did you go to the bathroom? Did you like, because one girl, she said, I wasn't even able to go to the restroom. I'm performing and doing all this rehearsal and things like that. Some things you have to have those communications to look and see, yeah, this person, they rubbing my back, but how are they leading other people? You know what I'm saying? And when you had that, like, that one-dimensional lens, it's about me, myself, and how I'm being praised in the environment. You're not looking at, okay, other people in this environment comfortable. Are they okay? Because this is not your peer. This is not someone that you, as a friend, you're trying to put this thought process like, oh, we're all friends, we're all cool. Being friends with a colleague is different from being friends with, just your regular person that you had that core relationship bond to. It's a difference.
Yeah, I agree. I think like you said, did you check in? No, you didn't. She couldn't have checked in. There was no way that she could have checked in because she seemed like she was just so unaware of how everybody was feeling. If you don't know your dancers or your crew, band, whatever, you don't even know that they're rehearsing this whole time and not even having any bathroom breaks. How do you not know that? How is that something that you are unaware of?
Right.
As a leader? That's what makes a great leader, not just based off of how can my team make me look good. It's based off how well am I treating my team so they can make me look good. Even better, really, is the goal. And so when you're focusing on leading, you have to look at all aspects of it. Like you said, you can't just look at the one person that's rubbing your back and thinking everything's okay. You can't be one track minded like that. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
And now she's in a situation that she's in because she's around or has surrounded herself with performative people that are not making sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. They're just not doing it.
Right. So how do we correct this, JL? So what are some advice that we could give people in leadership roles to really steer clear about performative behavior and how to really be aware as far as like their team and their needs and doing it in an efficient way so things don't get left in the crack? What are some of your suggestions with that?
I would say definitely to try to prioritize actual results over just who has the most bubbliest personality, who's the funnest to be around, who can I invite to the strip club.
I still can't believe that. I'm like, what you said, I said, what you talking about strip club?
Like you for real? Okay. Okay. Granted, I didn't even see Beyonce go to the club with her dancers after a tour. I'm seeing her going to have fun, have a good time. Don't get me wrong. But that was a one-off situation. Obviously, they weren't uncomfortable in the situation. And she's somebody that prioritizes results over just the personality.
Beyonce be saying, like, sign a paper saying that you're okay to go to this event.
Sign here. The copy's for you.
I look at B, it's like, she gonna dot her I's and cross her T's when it comes down to anything. In any type of environment where it's like, okay, I'm inviting this person deeper into my circle. You got to look at things from a very different lens when you're in certain like higher roles, because you never know. Because like I said, performative people can be around you the higher that you go up. When they say it's lonely at the top, it's lonely at the top for a reason, because a lot of times people who are around you at the top are performative.
Exactly. And like she said, Beyonce said, if you want to party with the queen, you got to sign a non-disclosure. Like she was dead serious. Like, sign this NDA because I'm not playing that game.
Yeah,
we're not gonna do that. Sign this non-disclosure so we can keep it moving. But yeah, I think that if you prioritize people that are more results driven, than just personality, it's not like it's okay to have a good personality. You need to mesh with people personality wise that you're working with. So don't take it as us saying personality doesn't matter. But what we're saying is results should be the top priority of what you're looking at and who you want to surround yourself with. And honesty as well. Reward honesty. Reward the truth. You know what I'm saying? If people are afraid to come to you and speak to you about what's really going on, then that means you're not rewarding honesty, you're rewarding dishonesty.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And dishonesty does mean if you ask somebody, are they okay? And they're visibly upset and they tell you that they're okay.
Yeah.
And you just push it off to the side and be like, okay, cool. She says she'll. That's rewarding dishonesty.
Exactly.
Because you know for a fact that they're not telling the truth. Also inviting disagreements or I would say just communicating in ways that doesn't always make you seem like everybody has to agree with what you're saying as a boss. Right. Everybody does not have to agree with what you're saying. Right. Make the conversations more free flowing, and make everybody more comfortable with speaking up and speaking their truth and speaking what they feel, regardless of the situation, for sure. What about you?
Exactly. And guys, I completely agree with JL, and we're going to wrap it up with my closing thoughts too. Honesty is not rejection. Honesty is not rejection. And being in a leadership seat, you have to really look at not only people who are uplifting to you, you got to look and see what is their reasoning. And sometimes their reasoning can be very performative. Like we said early on, they can have their own mindset as far as like, where they want to go in your company or in your business, and you have to be aware as far as to say, you know what, I can't leave with my rejection wound. I have to be able to be there for my employees in a way that's beneficial, not only for myself, but also for them as well. Okay. And, we're interested to hear about you guys. Let us know your thoughts and tell us about any situations where you dealt with people who had a rejection wound or had performative behavior in your workplace. How did you go about dealing with that?
We would definitely love to hear you guys' comments and thoughts. Again, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to another episode of Boss Mentality. And until next time, y'all.